Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Nikki here, and today it's time for an update on my Boho journal, and then we're going to do some crafting. So I have been playing around and I have done my 11-page requirement for the Dear Julie March Scrapbuster Challenge. So for each letter in the word Scrapbuster, we have to create a page. So the very first one is a sheet of scrapbook paper. Picked this lovely bright pink and orange one, which is going to be the cover for one of my signatures, because I am doing 3. And I have added some embellishment down in the corner because each page that we make also has to include 3 embellishments or more, and I've just used some little scraps and some sewing to create some embellishment down in the corner there. And as you caught a glimpse of inside there, I have already added a pocket because I found this beautiful piece of scrap paper which I just loved, so I've popped that in there as well. So that's S done. The next one is torn book pages. Well, I got very carried away and tore up all sorts of book pages, and then I simply glued all the strips together to create a page. And then I have done a little bit of embellishing with some tissue down in the left-hand corner there. Just keeping it small because I know I need to add some journaling space or something else to this one. So I decided just to keep the embellishment nice and tiny. Our next one is any roll of paper. This is grease-proof paper. I've splattered on some gold paint and a couple of other things, and then added some little tiles I cut from paper just to give that page a little bit of strength because it is quite flimsy. But that was that one done. Then the strips of paper, I showed you in my first video how I made that page with lots of strips. I've attached the right-hand side of it to a piece of cardstock as a pocket, and then on the front a little bit of embellishment with some scraps and a bit of sewing just to keep with the theme, and of course a little bit of book page there just so that you can actually see that embellishment on all the bright colours. Then the next one is Happy Mail. That pink envelope was a padded one. I've removed the padding, but it had a shiny underside, so I did glue it to another piece of one of the pieces of paper I want to use as a page because you can't do anything with the shininess. Left the stamps on, added a big piece of torn music paper, some stamping, and then a little tab there on the left. So that one's all done. This is my, forget B because B is boxed. That's going to be my cover. We're up to ugly. This was a very ugly piece of scrapbook paper that now has layers and layers of stenciling and stamping to hide the ugliness. A little bit of embellishment with sewing, ribbon, and some sequins. And again, I hated the other side of this paper, so I have also attached it to another sheet that was going to be one of my pages. I like the look of that a lot better than what was on display because that was one very ugly piece of scrapbooking paper. This one, interesting. We had to create a page using nothing but stickers. Holy moly, this took me forever. I was going to record it and I went, hang on a minute, this is not going to be easy. But I got it done. I had lots of Kaiser Craft sticker sheets that I put to work and some craft coloured labels, and honestly it took me a while, but I do think it turned out beautifully. I got a piece of gold ribbon that I have added as a tab. There's a couple of little flower embroidered embellishments on it so that we have the 3 things, and I stuck it down directly onto another one of the scrapbook pages that had a white backing. So I've covered the white with all those stickers and that page is done. The next one is tickets, but we are allowed to use a guest check for this one. So that's what I did. I've just gone for a cute little sort of afternoon tea theme. The backing page is one of Dear Julie's sheets. It has coffee dyeing and a doily on it, so I thought that suited perfectly. I've just added the guest check, the pencil, and I fussy cut out the teapot cup and the other little doily from a piece of scrapbook paper from my stash. The next one is envelopes. I've joined 2 envelopes together, leaving a little gap to make it easier when I actually attach it into the signature. Beautiful papers that I got as Happy Mail from one of my swap partners. Loved the colours, so I've just put some of that on there as the 3 embellishment pieces. And I don't want to seal up those envelope flaps because I do love the rich colours on the inside of those envelopes. So we will make some pretty things to put in those envelopes, but I didn't want to seal them up. So that's that one. And the lucky last is round. I simply cut a big circle, folded up the bottom, glued down the middle to create 2 pockets. And then look, while I'm in circle mode, I just added a few more as my 3 pieces of embellishment for that one. Now, it's time to do some crafting. And today we are going to make belly bands. We will be making 3 because I have 3 signatures and I definitely want a belly band in each one. So I have a piece of torn scrapbook paper, a lovely piece that's red, it's got a beautiful sheen to it, and some book page. So the first thing I'm going to do is, this is, you know, when you pull apart envelopes to use for decoupage, you have all these white sheets left over. Now, normally they would just go in the bin, but I did a video quite a while ago. I splatter them with paints, sprays, all sorts of things. This one was done with ink spray. And I thought, wow, what a perfect time to use it. Now, I wasn't sure how this was going to work, but it turns out that these particular backing sheets from the serviettes tore a lot nicer than I thought it would. So I was prepared to cut it with scissors if need be, but it tore beautifully, so that's what we're doing. Now, what I want to do is use this tissue paper to create a ruffle, and it's obviously very contrasting to my piece of scrapbook paper. So we're going to very simply get some Mod Podge. Oh, and I realised I haven't used my Mod Podge for a while. Have a look at the state of that lid and all the gunk. Now, I thought I could use that gunk, but no, it's all a bit too thick, so I think I'll scrape that off and throw it out. But thankfully, the Mod Podge in the jar was perfect. Now, all I'm doing is painting a nice, generous layer on right down the middle. I don't want this ruffle to completely cover the book page. That's not the aim. I definitely want some of that, the scrapbook paper. I definitely want some of that still on display. So I only want it to go down the middle. I also don't want it to stick down completely onto the scrapbook paper. I want the ruffle to be a little bit 3D. It just adds some nice dimension. So I'm just scrunching it up with my fingers, working my way down the belly band. I even tore a little bit right in the middle there, but that's okay. We'll add some embellishment and cover that little tear up. But otherwise, it's worked out exactly as I want, and it has a lovely sort of 3D feel. Not going to add, normally when you decoupage with serviettes, you have to paint the front and the back, but in this case, no interest in that. I want the texture, I want the roughness, so the Mod Podge will certainly hold it there. I probably could have just used my normal glue, but I was just in Mod Podge mode because that's normally what I use with serviettes. And then I had a couple of floral options there, but decided no, the white one's not the go for this. I'm going to use those 2 pink ones. So simply just a quick little daub of glue. Again, I don't want everything sticking down perfectly. I want it to be a bit rougher and a bit dimensional. So we're just popping down those 2 flowers. They're done. Now, this is a scrap buster challenge. So I already have made quite a few scraps getting this far in the journey. And one of my favourite ways to use up tiny little scraps is to use a whole punch that creates little flowers. They're fabulous embellishments. And I'm just going to stick a couple of rows up and down, just using these tiny little flowers that I've cut from all the lovely bright papers that I've been playing with. And I probably will add some jewels or some sequins or something. I don't know yet. We'll wait and see how we go. You know me,